Welcome back to the channel. My name is Brian Kingsbury. Today we're going to do another Brian Reads the News segment. This one coming to us from MSN.com. It's titled The 10 Wildest Sitcom Fan Theories That Actually Make Perfect Sense. Sitcoms are a staple of television and something that millions of families and fans flock to every day to enjoy some easy comfort storytelling. With so many classic shows to watch, audiences have been theorizing about certain popular shows for years. Shows like The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, Friends, South Park, and more have spawned numerous fan theories, some more bizarre than others. Of course, it's likely that many of them are more fun to think about than they are practical, but they still elicit a strong reaction from die-hard fans. Theory number 1 is that the Fresh Prince is dead. One of the most classic sitcoms of the 90s is Will Smith's The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. The show sees Will Smith playing more or less a version of himself, move in with his Aunt Vivian, Uncle Phil, and cousins Carlton and Hillary after a situation in Philadelphia. The theme song is probably the most well-known aspect of this classic series, which has inspired some fans to theorize even further. Using the lyrics of the famous theme song, audiences have invented an idea that Will Smith is actually dead the whole time. The theory uses moments in the theme song when, quote, "I looked at my kingdom, I was finally there, and to sit on my throne as the Prince of Bel-Air," as evidence to suggest that Will is dead and going to heaven. It's a ridiculous theory, but one that is almost as entertaining as the hit series. The next theory is that the Flintstones and the Jetsons take place at the same time. Two of Hanna-Barbera's most classic cartoons, the Flintstones and the Jetsons, might take place within the same period and universe. The Flintstones focuses on a prehistoric caveman family in Bedrock, and the Jetsons focuses on a family of the future. The theory believes that these two families are not too dissimilar in time and in place. The Flintstones is suggested to have taken place in a post-apocalyptic future where dinosaurs have returned to roam the earth and past technologies are still being used in their society. The Jetsons takes place soon after that show when humanity has cracked technology. It's an interesting theory and one explored in the special The Jetsons Meet the Flintstones. The next theory asks, did the AC repair school start the zombie apocalypse in Community? Another show that was thankfully boosted by streaming was the underrated sitcom Community. The show focused on 6 friends who attended a wacky community college where there was something odd and wild to do every episode. The series makes a point to have so many different intertwining yet unique storylines for fans to fall in love with. Most of them are plain silly, which is the whole spirit of the show. With so many plot lines, 2 of the most popular might be more connected than expected. In Season 2, Greendale is hit with a zombie apocalypse when the dean cheaped out and buys meat from a military store. The only way to cure everyone is by turning up the AC, something that the character Troy manages to do. In Season 3, Troy is recruited to be the chosen one at Greendale's AC repair school, which operates much more like a cult. The theory claims that the AC school was testing Troy, which he passed with flying colors. It's a fun theory that would make complete sense in the context of Community. The next theory asks, why did Kenny disappear from South Park? It's a running joke that Kenny dies in every episode of the foul-mouthed show South Park, which has had a legendary run. The show has provided answers for how this could even be possible, but there was a time when Kenny didn't come back. Showrunners Matt Stone and Trey Parker wanted to explore different story opportunities outside of Kenny, so they officially killed him off for good in the episode fittingly titled Kenny Dies. Kenny has since returned, and fans have learned a lot about Kenny's oddly powerful backstory. The theory posits that Kenny must not have been able to return to life due to his mother's state. In the episode Scott Tenorman Must Die, audiences see that Kenny is rebirthed from his mother whenever he dies. Throughout season 5 and into season 6, Kenny's mother was pregnant with his future sister. The theory states the reason Kenny couldn't come back for those seasons is because she was pregnant with his sister instead. It's a fascinating theory, and it makes sense in the grand scheme of South Park. The next theory is that Walter White is Malcolm. Another popular theory that will sometimes pop up with a show has to do with its actors, specifically ones that are well known for more than one property. For example, Bryan Cranston is an incredibly diverse actor who starred in both Malcolm in the Middle as Hal Wilkerson and in Breaking Bad as the notorious Walter White. Both shows could not be more different, and that can easily be understood through Cranston's brilliant performances in both shows. While it might be expected that the theory focuses on how Hal could end up being Walter down the line, fans have actually theorized that Walter White's former life was actually as Malcolm. Malcolm was always an intricate planner and had an interest in chemistry, much like Walter, and could feasibly grow up to be a chemistry teacher later on in life. Malcolm's grandfather is also named Walter, leading some fans to suspect that this is how Malcolm transitioned his name. Although there are too many leaps in logic for this theory to even hold water, it's still fun to think about. The next theory asks, who is the Scranton Strangler? The Office is considered to be one of the most beloved sitcoms of recent eras, largely thanks to the boom in streaming. Moments from the show, as well as famous lines and characters, have been cemented in pop culture. One of the most talked about aspects of the show is its running joke relating to the Scranton Strangler, their local off-screen serial killer. Throughout small moments in the show, the Scranton Strangler would come up in conversation, such as in the episode Viewing Party. However, some fans have gone even further than the show has and suspect that one of Dunder Mifflin's employees could be the killer. There are many different theories as to who is behind the strangling mask, such as Creed or Toby, with fans using small clues to connect the dots. However, the show has actually given fans an answer, as the Strangler was caught and revealed to be a man named George Howard Scubb. While Toby initially suspects the real killer might still be on the loose, it's safe to say that the Strangler is behind bars. The next theory is that Zach Morris isn't actually cool. Saved by the Bell is the classic 80s sitcom that comes to mind whenever a viewer thinks of the era. It has become so synonymous with the culture and the state of classic television. Focusing on the lives of students at Bayside High, Zach Morris and his friends lead his pals on many adventures throughout the area. In the show, Zach is a scheming cool guy who always ends up with what he wants, even being able to pause a moment when he's in the talk to the camera. However, what if all of this was in Zach's head? Maybe Zach isn't as popular as the show leads him to be, and he's actually just a random nobody who imagines all these things. He daydreams a lot throughout the show. Regardless, Saved by the Bell is mandatory viewing for anyone interested in classic 80s television. The next theory is that Joey is the Tanner sisters' real father. Full House is a classic of a sitcom premise as one can get, especially for how steeped in 80s life it is. The show focuses on the entertaining family lives of Danny Tanner, his 3 daughters, and their Uncle Joey and Uncle Jesse, who all live together under the same roof. There's nothing too elaborate in the show, but that didn't stop fans from creating a theory that technically holds a lot of water. Joey, played by the hilarious Dave Coulier, has blonde hair. The 3 Tanner sisters also have blonde hair, unlike their father who has dark brown hair. The theory claims that Danny is not the father of the 3, and it's actually Joey. This is based solely on the fact that genetically, it'd be practically impossible for Danny to have 3 daughters with blonde hair. While Joey isn't blood related to the family and acts more as an honorary uncle, this theory still implies a lot of messy drama behind the scenes. The next theory is that Phoebe imagined her friends. Friends is probably the most well-known television show of all time, and its characters are cultural icons, such as Lisa Kudrow's Phoebe Buffet. In the show, Phoebe is revealed to have had a difficult past that included coming from a dysfunctional family. The backstory fits her wacky and entertaining personality, and fans have concocted a dark Friends theory that would turn the entire show on its head. What? The "it's a dream" theory has been thrown around in almost every show and movie, and Friends is no different. Fans have talked about the possibility that Phoebe has been dreaming up her 5 friends in the show, and the whole thing is in her head. The theory rarely needs to have any evidence for audiences to suspect something could be happening, so this theory doesn't have any evidence. And that said, it's still an entertaining thought, and one that would change the direction of Friends forever. And finally, the last theory is that the Bluths know what a chicken is. Not all sitcom theories are incredibly dark or fascinating, such as one suggested for Arrested Development. The show revolves around Michael Bluth, played by the incredible Jason Bateman, as the ultimate sitcom straight man. Michael Bluth has to keep his dysfunctional and hilarious family together through a lot of lies, scheming, and ridiculous situations. The show is well known for its incredible first 3 seasons and its impeccable comedy storytelling. One of the show's best-running jokes is when the family mocks Michael by calling him a chicken through a silly chicken impression. Gob Bluth was the first to show off his ridiculous impression of chicken, soon followed by the rest of the family. None of their impressions are similar to a chicken in any way, which is the entire joke. However, some fans have posed that they do this impression toward Michael out of spite, just to annoy him more. It's a very small theory and one that gives a lot of credit to the most dysfunctional family in television. Alright, there you have it, 10 of the wildest sitcom fan theories that are actually make perfect sense. What do you guys think? Do you believe any of these theories? Do they make sense to you? Which one do you believe most? Which is the most likely to be true in your opinion? Put it in the comment section. I'd be interested to hear from you. I kind of like the idea that Walter White is Malcolm. That's an interesting theory, but there's some crazy ones in this mix. 10 wild sitcom fan theories. Put your favorite in the comment section and which one you think would be most likely to be true. And of course, if you enjoyed this video, please take a second to hit that like button. You can do that now. And if you really enjoy this sort of content, please consider subscribing to the channel.